When an officer tells you to step out of the car, most people make the same mistake. Don't be one of them.
You are parked outside a pharmacy. It is a quiet afternoon. The officer walks up to your window. You already have your license and registration ready. You hand them over without even being asked. He looks at the documents.
Sir. License and
He
registration.
looks at you.
Yes, officer.
And
Right
then
here.
he says, "Would you mind stepping out of the vehicle for me?" You nod. You open the door.
Do you know why I stopped
You step out. And right there,
I'm sorry, officer,
in that
was I
single,
speeding?
quiet moment of doing everything
Here you go,
right,
officer. Everything should
you
be
make
right
the
here.
mistake that hands the officer
you.
everything he needs to search your car.
The address on
Extend
your
the stop
license
for as
doesn't
long
match
as he
the
wants,
registration.
and use anything he finds against you later. Not
Is there
because
any
you were
reason
rude, not because
Would you mind
refused,
stepping out of the vehicle?
because you stepped out and said absolutely nothing. And in the world of traffic stop law, silence is not neutral. Silence is consent. Every single year, police officers in the United States
Good afternoon,
pull over
ma'am.
more than 20
Can I
million
please see your
drivers.
license?
That
Do you know
is
why I
more
pulled you
than
over tonight?
50,000
No, officer, I
traffic
don't.
stops
Was
every
I
single
speeding?
day. And of all the people getting pulled over, seniors over the age of 65 are among the least prepared for
License,
what legally
registration,
happens the
and proof of
moment
insurance.
they step out of that car. They are polite. They are cooperative. They do everything they are told. And because of that, they unknowingly
License and
give up the
registration.
very rights that were designed to protect
Step to the rear of the vehicle, please.
Stanford studies across the country repeatedly find that police arrest drivers in less than 1%, and in some cases as little as 0.3% of all traffic stops. That means the overwhelming majority of stops are minor. A tail light,
License and
a
registration.
rolling stop,
Right now.
an expired sticker. But here is the problem. What starts as a minor stop can turn into something much more serious in under 6 hours.
License and registration,
Seconds,
please.
and the reason it
Do you
escalates
know why I
almost
pulled you over
always
tonight?
comes
License and
down to what the
registration,
driver
please.
says or does
Everything
not
all right,
say
officer?
the moment. They step outside the car. American Civil Liberties Union I have reviewed hundreds of traffic stop court transcripts and body camera recordings. I have studied
License
the
and
exact
registration,
Supreme
please.
Court rulings that define what an officer
Do you know
can
why I pulled you?
and cannot
Thank you for your
do
cooperation,
once you are
sir.
standing on that pavement.
Everything is in order.
And
so
I
you
have
are free.
identified 5 things that most seniors completely miss in the seconds. Right after they are asked to step out, 5 things that determine whether your rights stay protected or quietly disappear by the
paperwork.
side of the road.
Now, keep your hands where I
Let
can
me
see
show
them.
you all
Do not
5
reach under
of
that
them.
seat.
Now picture this. The officer says, "Step out of the vehicle, please." You open the door, get out, and stand there. You said nothing. You did
don't know
what
if I
you
can
were
do
told.
this.
That
the
feels like the
package-
right move, and in terms of your physical safety, it is. But in terms of the legal record of what just happened, you left something critical out. Here is why so many seniors do exactly
I need to
this.
see your license and
They
registration,
think that simply
please.
Yes, of
obeying
course.
is enough. They believe that getting out of the car without argument shows good faith.
Good
and
afternoon,
that is
officer.
all that
Here are my
matters.
papers.
But the
Thank you.
legal
Everything's-
reality is different. The moment you exit that vehicle, a clock starts. Everything that happens next, whether the officer asks to search, whether he asks you questions, whether he extends the stop, can be challenged
Good
later in
afternoon,
court.
license and
But
registration,
only if there is a
please.
clear record
Do you know why I pulled you
that
over
you are
today?
acting under a direct order and not doing any of this freely and voluntarily. If a traffic stop is lawful,
Sir,
police
I need
generally
you to
have
step
the
out of the
right to
vehicle for a
order you
moment.
out of your car.
Okay, follow
And
the
everything
detour signs
turns on one
carefully.
question.
They aren't very
Was the
clear,
traffic
so
stop
you'll-
lawful? This rule comes from a 1977 Supreme Court case called Pennsylvania versus Mims. In that case, Philadelphia police stopped a man named Harry Mims for an expired license plate, a minor traffic violation. The officer told Mims to step out. He did. When he exited, the officer spotted a bulge under his jacket and found a loaded firearm. Mims appealed, arguing the exit order violated his rights. The Supreme Court disagreed and ruled clearly. Ordering a person out of a car during a lawful traffic stop does not violate the Fourth Amendment. The exit order is
You
legal.
know why I pulled you over today,
You
ma'am?
cannot refuse it.
to
Shane
see your
Smith law,
license,
but
please.
here is what that case does not mean.
I am
And this
complying
is the part
with your
most
order.
people miss. It does not mean you
complying
have
with
to
your
exit
order.
in silence. The correct move is to comply immediately while saying these exact words out loud.
What seems to be the...
I am
swear I
complying
didn't know
with
he
your
had
order.
the keys.
That is it.
It all happened
Those
so
5
fast.
words do
yes,
something
of course.
powerful.
I've already handled it. There
They
won't be any
create an
further
audio
complications,
record
I guarantee it.
captured on the
At first,
officer's
I thought
body
nothing
camera
of it.
that
But
you
then I saw
understood
the
this
evidence
as a direct
and
order,
realized the extent.
not a voluntary choice. That distinction matters enormously if you
I've
ever
said
need to challenge
all
what
I
happens
intend
next
to
in a
say
courtroom.
on the matter.
Bottom line, step out, yes, but speak those words as
License
you do it.
and registration.
You handled step 1.
Understood.
You stepped out and
We'll
said
be
the
on
right
our way,
words. But now here is where
I
most seniors
apologize,
make their
officer. I
second
must have
big
missed the speed
mistake,
limit sign.
and it
All right,
happens
well,
fast.
make sure you slow down.
You are standing beside your car. The officer has your documents. He glances at your vehicle
All right,
and
sir.
says,
The registration is
I'm just going to
expired.
take a quick look inside for my safety. Okay? And you say nothing. Or you
I'm
say,
just going to take a
okay.
quick look inside for my
Or
safety,
you
okay?
nod. And just like that, your Fourth Amendment protection against searches disappears. Not because the officer had legal authority to search, but because you gave him permission. Here is the thing most people do not realize. An officer may ask for permission to search your vehicle, but you are not required to consent. If you agree, it gives them the authority to proceed. The exit order and a vehicle search are 2 completely separate legal actions. One does not automatically lead to the
Ma'am,
other.
can I see your
The
license
Supreme
and
Court
registration?
ruling in Pennsylvania versus Mims gave officers the right to ask you out of the car for safety. It did not give them the automatic right to look inside that car once you are standing
Officer,
outside it.
I do not consent to any
Johnston
search of my
County
vehicle
defense
or my...
lawyer's search
Thank you for
requires
confirming
its
the
own separate
destination.
legal
I'll ensure we
justification.
take the most efficient
Probable
route.
cause,
You could just step
a
out
search
for a moment.
warrant,
I'm sorry,
or your
officer, but I do
consent.
not consent to any
If the
searches.
officer has none of those
told you
things,
everything I know.
and you say nothing,
I'm
your
done
silence
talking.
can be interpreted as
I
permission.
told you already.
That
I'm
is
not
the
doing
trap.
anything until I
The
speak to my
moment the
lawyer.
officer
You
says
can't hold
anything
me.
that sounds like a request to look inside your vehicle, the correct move is to say these exact words clearly and calmly. Officer, I do not
I am
consent to
refusing
any
to
search
answer
of my
any
vehicle
questions without
or
my
my
attorney
person.
present.
You are not being
The reason I
difficult.
stopped you is for the expired
You are not
registration
being
tag. Do you have
rude.
proof of renewal with you?
You are
No,
simply
officer, I just have-
exercising a right that the Constitution gives every single person in this country. Bottom line, the exit order
Everything seems
ends at
to
the
be in
car
order, ma'am.
door.
Drive
Your
safe.
right to refuse
We
a
appreciate
search
you guys looking out for
begins
the
the moment
neighborhood.
your feet
If you
hit the
see
pavement.
anything unusual,
Johnston
so where are
County
you headed
defense
today?
lawyer, you stepped out. You refused consent
Thank
to
you.
a
I
search.
appreciate that.
Now the officer gets friendly.
It is a beautiful...
He leans against
Have
his
you had
car
anything to
and
drink
says
tonight?
casually, "So where are you headed today?" Or,
I really didn't
"Have you
think
had anything to
it
drink
would
this
be
evening?"
a big deal. It
Or,
just
"Is there
seemed-
anything in the
Realize this is
car
a
I should know
mandatory
about?"
stop zone, correct?
And you
I
answer,
apologize, officer.
because it feels natural. Because he seems
Is
reasonable.
there anything in the car I
Because
should
you
know
have
about?
nothing to hide, and you want to be helpful, Dot. This
All
is
right,
the
I
third
can do that.
mistake, and it is one of the most costly ones. There are 2 completely different types of questions
I've been
an
driving
officer
that route for
can
30
ask
years,
you during a
officer.
traffic
Never
stop.
once been late.
The first type are required questions. These are questions about your identity, your name,
like I said,
your
I wasn't even
driver's
going that
license,
fast. I
your
just had the
vehicle
car serviced
registration,
yesterday.
and your proof of insurance. In most states, you are legally required to provide these. The second type are investigative questions. These are questions designed to gather
I am
information
exercising
that can be
my
used
Fifth
to build
Amendment
probable
right
cause,
to remain.
a
License
reason
and
to arrest
registration,
you,
please.
search your car,
I am exercising
or
my
extend
Fifth
the
Amendment
stop.
right and will not.
You are never required to answer
I didn't know
these.
she was underage
A
when we crossed the
motorist
state
pulled
line.
over to the side of the road is not in custody
I will
for
not
purposes
answer
of
questions
the Fifth Amendment,
without my
which
attorney
means
present.
Miranda warnings do not need to be given during a traffic stop. But that does not mean your
I
Fifth
understand you
Amendment
heard me,
rights
but I need a
have
verbal
disappeared.
confirmation of your address.
Your right to remain silent
This is
still
completely
exists.
unfair. I am
You
telling
just
you
have to
exactly what
actively
happened,
use it.
and you are not
The
listening.
correct move the moment an officer begins asking investigative questions is to say, calmly and clearly,
Good evening,
"I
sir.
am exercising my Fifth
see your
Amendment
license and
right to remain silent. I will not answer questions without my attorney present." If the officer keeps asking, you keep repeating it. You do not argue. You do not explain. You simply state your right and hold it. Bottom line, hand over your license, registration, and insurance, and then stay quiet. The Constitution gives you that option. Use it. OJPU stepped out.
Here's your
You
copy of the
refused
citation,
consent.
sir. You need to sign
You
right
stayed
here and make
quiet
sure you
when the
appear in court
questions
on the
came. Now the officer walks back to his patrol car. You can see him through the windshield, looking at a screen. 5 minutes pass,
Dispatch, run
then
the plate on
10,
the sedan
then
eastbound lane.
15.
We're
And
clear.
you are still standing on the side of the road, waiting, because nobody told you that you could leave. This is the fourth mistake, and it is one that traps seniors the longest. Most people assume that
afternoon,
the officer
officer. You wanted to
controls
see me.
when the stop
Afternoon.
ends. They think they
Am I
have to
free to
stand there
leave?
until they are officially
Or am I
dismissed.
being detained?
But the law says something
Excuse
different.
me, I saw this
The
person putting
Supreme
these items
Court,
under their
in a
coat.
case called
we allowed-
Rodriguez
Can you confirm
versus
your
United
location at the
States,
time of the incident?
ruled that a traffic
Yes,
stop
I was
must be
in the briefing
temporary
room.
and can
You're
only
free to
last
go.
as long as it takes to
I don't
complete
think we
the
will.
actual purpose of the stop. An investigative detention must be justified as necessary for
Thank you.
legitimate safety reasons or to complete logical investigative steps. Once the officer
being
has checked
detained.
your license, run your registration, and either issued a ticket or decided not
What
to,
crime am I
the legal
suspected of
purpose of the
committing?
stop is finished.
Hi, is the key
You
card
should
for the
be free to
executive
go.
lounge ready?
Yes.
Office of Justice Programs.
to the left.
The reason seniors wait silently is simple. They do not want to seem impatient
Here are your
or
documents.
difficult.
Have a safe drive home.
They worry
Thank
that
you,
asking
officer.
might trigger suspicion.
Here
But
is your
here is the
license and
truth.
registration, sir. Drive
Asking
safely.
this question
Thank you,
is
officer.
not
Have a good
suspicious. It is smart. The correct move, the moment the officer returns your documents or finishes writing the citation, is to ask this one clear question.
You're free to go.
Officer, am I free to leave or am I being detained? That question forces a legal decision. If he says you are free to leave, you thank him and walk back to your car. If he says he needs more time or has more questions, you respond with, am I being detained for a separate investigation? If so, what crime do you suspect me of? That creates a clear record. Either the stop is over, or there is a legal reason to continue it. There is no legal middle ground where you just stand there indefinitely. Bottom line, once the stop's purpose is done, ask the question and get your answer.
Am I permitted to
The
return
officer
to
hands
my,
back
my,
your documents.
my vehicle now?
He says you are free to go, and you feel relieved.
Yes.
The hard part is over. So you walk quickly back to your car, get in, start the engine, and pull away. But you just made the fifth and final mistake. You never documented anything, and the way you re-entered the vehicle may have already given the officer a reason to pull you over again before you even reach the end of the block. Here is something most drivers do not know. Officers are trained to keep watching until the vehicle is completely gone. They are looking for sudden movements, failure to signal, anything that seems unusual. Any small error as you drive away can be used as a reason for a second stop, and this time, the officer has context from the first one. So the re-entry sequence matters. The correct final steps are these. Before you walk back to your
Good
car,
evening, sir.
ask the
The
officer,
reason I stopped you is your
am
right
I
rear
permitted
light is
to
out.
return to my vehicle now? Wait for
Step
a
out of
clear
the vehicle?
yes. As you walk back, keep your hands visible at your sides. Once inside, place both hands on the steering wheel. Do not immediately start the
I am
engine.
compliant.
Wait for the
Officer,
officer to
I
return
do
to his
not
vehicle
consent to
or
any
give you
search
a
of my
clear
vehicle
signal.
or my person.
He
Use
threatened
your
my
turn
family,
signal
officer.
when you pull away. Drive
swear I
calmly
didn't want
and carefully. And
Where are
then,
you headed today?
as soon as you can safely stop a short distance away,
I am exercising
write down
my
everything
Fifth
you
Amendment
remember.
right to remain
The
silent.
officer's name and badge
I will.
number if you
License
saw
and
it.
registration,
The
please.
time and location of the
Officer, I
stop.
swear I wasn't
The
speeding.
exact
I'm just
words
trying to get-
used when the
Okay.
exit order was
we need
given.
to document everything
Whether
you
you
just
stated
said,
your refusal of
officially.
consent, how long you were on the side of the road, and what questions were asked and how you responded. This record is your protection if you ever need to challenge anything that happened. Bottom line, the stop is not over
Here are your
until
documents, ma'am.
you have
Drive
driven
safely.
away safely
Thank
and
you,
documented
officer.
the full encounter.
Am I
Let
free to leave?
Me put all
Or
5
am I
steps
being
together
detained?
in one place. So they
You're
are
free to
easy
go.
to remember and easy to use.
are free to go.
Step 1. The
Am
moment
I
the officer
permitted to return to my
says
vehicle
step
now?
out of the vehicle,
Are we
you
clear to
comply
proceed, Captain?
immediately and say out loud, I am complying with your order. Step 2. Before the officer says another word, you state clearly, Officer, I do not consent any search of my vehicle or my person. Step 3. If the officer asks you any investigative questions beyond your identity documents, you say, I am exercising my Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. I will not answer questions without my attorney present. Step 4. Once the officer returns your documents or finishes the stop's purpose, you ask, Officer, am I free to leave or am I being detained? Step 5. Once you receive confirmation that you can go, you
The
ask,
key metrics for this
am I
quarter show
permitted to
a
return to my
significant
vehicle
increase.
now? You
I
keep your
am
hands
complying-
visible, re-enter calmly,
complying
drive away
with your-
carefully, and
I
document
do not
everything
consent to any
immediately
search.
afterward. 5 steps.
I am
5
exercising
phrases.
my Fifth
That
Amendment
is the complete
right
framework
to remain
that protects
silent.
your Fourth Amendment
Am I free
and
to
Fifth
leave?
Amendment rights from the
Am I
moment
free to
you
leave?
open that car door to the moment you drive away. Practice these out loud before you need them. Say them in your driveway. Say them to your spouse or your friend. The goal is to make them feel natural and automatic so that when the moment comes, they come out calmly and clearly without hesitation.
Oh my goodness, where is it? I
Here's
just
what to
had
do
it.
right now before you
Here are
ever
my
get
documents,
pulled
sir.
over again. Print out the 5 steps above and keep them in your glove box. Before any officer approaches your window, run through this quick checklist. Turn off your engine. Turn on your interior lights if it is dark outside. Place both hands on the steering wheel where the officer can see them. And have your license, registration, and insurance ready to
I
hand
must
over
say,
immediately.
this provides a great deal
Review
of
the
comfort.
5 phrases
Have a
regularly so they
I
become
understand your
second
concerns.
nature.
However,
One
the
important
contract
note
language is
on
quite
state
clear on
laws.
this point.
Under federal law, police are authorized to ask the driver and other occupants to exit a vehicle during an otherwise lawful traffic stop. However, state law varies on the topic. Some states follow the federal rule, while others impose higher legal requirements on police before removing occupants from a vehicle. This means the federal baseline, established by Pennsylvania versus Mims, applies everywhere, but your state may actually offer you more protection on top of that. Consulting a qualified attorney in your state for your specific situation is always the right move if you believe your rights were violated during a stop. Calcagna-Lavierding in this video is educational content
Age
based on
brings
publicly
wisdom,
available Supreme
and together
Court rulings,
we can make
legal
a difference in
analysis,
the world.
and documented traffic stop research. It is not legal advice. If you have been through a traffic stop where you believe something went wrong, speak to a licensed attorney in your state as soon as possible. If this video helped you understand something that could protect you the next time an officer says, "Step out of the car," share it. Share it with every senior driver you know, because with more than 20 million traffic stops happening every year in
Don't
this
lie to me.
country,
We found
the
the
odds
evidence
that
right
you
here.
or someone you care
Now
about
tell me,
will face this
where did you hide
situation are not small. Everyone over 65 who gets behind the wheel deserves to know these 5 steps before they need them, not after. Stanford subscribe to this channel
They always
so you
rush
do
the
not miss
important
the next
moments.
video,
We won't make
which
that
covers
mistake.
what happens if an officer asks to search your trunk after you have already refused consent. The exact legal framework that determines whether that request has any teeth.
When you
And the
operate
precise
under the color
words
of
that
the
protect
law,
you in that
every
moment.
word must be
Hit
precise.
the bell so
there
you
is
are
simply
notified
no
the
room for
moment the video
ambiguity in this
drops.
profession.
Here is the truth about all of this. Complying with an exit order is the law, and you should always comply. But compliance is not the same as surrender. If an officer searches your vehicle without consent, probable cause, or a warrant, any evidence they find may be excluded from the prosecution's case, which can weaken the charges significantly, or even lead to their dismissal. Your words are what preserve that protection. Your calm, clear statements are what create the legal record. You now have the exact 5-step sequence. Use it wisely. Use it calmly. And never stop exercising the rights the Constitution gave you.